Welcome everybody to Super Hype Train. Come on, Benny. There he is. This is episode 6. We have a special episode for you this week. We want to do a few smaller games, and we want to do sort of special episodes of them. And we're going to do a double header of those tonight as episode 6. We are going to cover Absolver, and we are going to cover Cuphead tonight if the boys don't stop laughing in the background. I am Wilco, your magnificent host. Not really, I'm Wilco though. To my left, right, centre is Benny. How you going, Benny?
Below you on stream. All right, sure, yeah, left, right, centre. I'm all right, man. I'm doing good.
That's good
I
to hear.
got some chocolate. I got some rum in my cup to talk about Cuphead.
Excellent.
I'm ready to go.
That's the best kind of Cuphead. To my left, right, centre as well, Sammy. How you going, Sammy?
Yes, I have my mug, man.
Mugman tonight as well. Sure. So he's Sammy's he's going to be our Absolver expert tonight, so he can't wait. And hopefully,
I'm so excited for this episode.
Hopefully, me and him will get out a golf story episode in the next week or two for you all as well before launch.
Yes.
We will. Yes. It'll be a special production. Won't be a numbered episode, but look out for it.
Beautiful stuff.
Mr. Dylan Whipman, how you going?
I'm alright, man. How are you?
I'm excellent. You're to my right / left / centre as well. So you're always the centre of my heart, mate. Centre of my heart. So how you all been? We'll start with Whip, since I've got you here and you're talking to me slowly. What have you been up to for last week, man?
Nothing much. I've just had to sort of grind out some uni work and get that done. So had a pretty fucking boring week.
That's okay.
How exciting!
I thought you'd been grinding out some Frozen memes during the week.
Never let it die. Never let it go.
Please let it die.
You've been playing anything interesting the last week?
No, I've managed to squeeze in some games of Overwatch, but that's really about it.
I heard you did a cool stream last Friday night, though. Sat in the dark.
No, please no. No, it was a terrible stream. And an even worse idea.
It's good. If you want to follow and watch these cool streams, check him out at
Whiplash191.
There you go. Go follow him.
Did you scream like a little girl?
No, because I got maybe 5 minutes into the game and stopped because I couldn't keep going.
This was Outlast you were playing, was it? Or
yeah.
Yeah,
Outlast.
That game.
Just Outlast was the first one.
The original. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got both.
Yeah.
I've got Outlast 2 sitting there. I've been meaning to record for a half informed or a let's play for 8-bit.
Yeah.
And I keep going to record it, and it's like,
that.
no, not ready. Not ready.
Not ready.
Not happening.
Yeah.
Okay, Sammy, what have you been up to for the last week or so?
Well, I've been doing, some furious work getting some Vivid podcast episodes ready, including we've got one coming out that came out today, and in 2 weeks, my first trivia quiz episode thing, which is really cool and exciting. I'm super excited to put that out and have people be excited about that. But yeah, today I did one on Perception and Outlast. Very cool stuff.
Excellent.
The podcast, I mean, not necessarily the game.
That's okay. Perception's not that good, I hear. Is that the spoiler?
Oh my god, I was so upset by it.
Okay. That's okay.
Wasted potential. The joke that I make a point of saying at the end is not only does it fail at the basics, but Perception suffers from a lack of vision.
Oh no.
It's about a blind lady.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it's great. Great.
Gonna get you a gold logie in podcasting sometime soon for lines like that. Benny, what have you been up to for the last week? Starring on 50 million podcasts as well, or what have you been doing?
Yeah. No, I'll let the podcast starring go to Brendan this week. He just finished up an episode for the NPC boys, who also can be seen here on Super Hype Train.
Every now and then. Not for a couple of weeks, actually. But they've been banned to the corner for the moment. So
sent to the naughty corner. Yeah, too busy watching Evo streams, the bastards.
Yeah.
I actually joined those boys on Friday night, played some Heroes of the Storm, checked out the new Stukov character, who is a freaking awesome support class, and we started steamrolling some dudes as well and had heaps of fun and talked a bit. We sang songs to Sammy, who joined us in chat.
Yes, I am the tenacious
We serenaded him. He's the tenacious Deej. We sang about the Sea of Deej. It was
Yep.
awesome. What else have I been playing? I played a bit of Destiny over the weekend, just trying to get some more of those Ages of Triumph, and I'm pretty excited to start looking at that Destiny beta on Wednesday morning at 3 a.m.
Yeah, you're going to get up at 3 a.m. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Sydney all weekend, which is a little bit hurtful for my beta chances, but I'm going to play Wednesday night and Sunday night, and probably while we're doing the podcast next week, Monday night as well.
It's a rough weekend for Aussies because there's AvCon in Adelaide, there's the Overwatch Championship World Cup thingy, group stage in Sydney this weekend. I know people are traveling this weekend and doing all sorts of stuff. So
yeah, I'm not even getting a chance to touch the beta because of that.
Yeah, and I think you've got a birthday this week.
Yes, I'm turning older.
Big man now. I'm so cute.
I might even drop in and say hello to him this weekend too. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But I'm pretty excited for Destiny, and I'm excited to talk about that next week. But this week we're talking Absolver.
Oh yeah,
Cuphead,
we better get into it. Hey,
I remember that.
We're recording a podcast, aren't we?
We are.
Whoops.
Okay, so we're going to start with Absolver. We're going to give it about 20-25 minutes, and then we'll move on to Cuphead.
Sell it to me.
So Absolver is obviously called Absolver, and it's from Slow Clap, which is a studio put together from ex-Ubisoft Paris employees, which apparently worked on Watch Dogs and Tom Clancy Ghost Recon together, the series.
What about the publisher?
The publisher, that's what I was about to do. Can you not see it in the run sheet? That's
Devolver Digital.
Devolver Digital is
them.
producing this game, so it's technically not an indie. It is published by a publisher. Will be released.
That is what Devolver does, though. They just publish indie games.
Yeah, so it will be releasing the 29th of August, 3 days after I turn old, on PS4 and PC only. So this is the little Wikipedia bit on it. Absolver is an upcoming martial arts focused action role-playing video game developed by Slow Clap, a Parisian indie game developer comprised of former Ubisoft Paris employees, like I just said. So, look, there's a whole lot more I can talk about for it, but the main thing is, it's...
You fight dudes.
You do. It's the next in the series of fighting games that 2017 seems to be famous for. So, look, I'm going to chuck it to you, Sammy. Give us a bit of a history and a bit of a rundown of exactly what Absolver is. I watched a video this afternoon and I still don't know what I'm really looking at, but we'll get into it.
Okay, so, I mean, the history, if you want to get into that intellectual side of it, we've already said, Parisian studio, Slow Clap, from former Ubisoft people. So kind of the main crux of it seems to be kind of an open world MMO kind of game. And the idea of it is you have all these different attacks that you can move into what they call the combat deck, where you can kind of customize your own combos, which I always find interesting because it's one of those features that you see in games that is kind of loved in games, but we don't really see it enough. And as you are playing through this game, if you can have all these different stances, you can have different, ways that you are positioning yourself, which, lead you into your various combos. As you are fighting against opponents, you can actually learn the moves that they are using on you. Which is a bit weird because you just get punched by them repeatedly and you go, oh, that's how I do that punch. Even though a cool little thing that I actually found out recently is that the way it works is you only get that experience if you then defeat the opponent.
Yeah, so what I understood from this video is that you've got to parry that attack 3 times successfully. Then you get what they call like a fighting XP or move XP, and then you only get that properly if you win that battle of whatever type of world fight you're doing. So you can do all the blocking and all the learning you want, but if you lose the game, you lose all knowledge of that. So yeah, it's an interesting little mechanic for a game. So
yeah, you can also have kind of mentoring as well. Mm-hmm. So it's not entirely you versus everyone else. So you can if you've gotten somewhat far in the game, you can go, okay, I'm going to build kind of a school, and it's going to be we use these weapons, we have these kind of moves that I will be, teaching to anyone who wants to learn them. And it's kind of cool because you can kind of, in that way, form these kind of guild like groups.
Because they're actually saying, you can actually say, this is my deck. If you want to learn it, I have a fighting school that you can actually join, and you actually advertise that this is the school. And yeah, like the mentor program is really interesting that they're talking about for this game, isn't it, Sammy? So you can actually...
Yeah.
You find someone in the world and you can either choose to fight them or mentor them or just run around, play co-op with them in the open world part of the game. So... So it's mainly open world stuff. They have actually said that they are going to be having 2 additional game modes at launch. So they are going to have kind of a 3v3 or just a 1v1. So, there's a little bit of variety there. And I'm actually really glad that they did talk about that, because that was kind of something I was a bit concerned with, because, they haven't talked about that. They were mentioning at E3 too that they're going to add more game modes to it as it goes along. And the 3-player co-op part of it, well, you have your team of 3. If you go into a 1v1, they're hoping that the third person can then become spectator mode and actually basically film the fight for people.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, but that doesn't sound like it'll be at launch. So it will be a game that will evolve over time. So that sounds pretty cool as well. So is that pretty much the crux of the game? Or...
I think it is. Like, it is one of those games where it is taking like very simple ideas, such as I said, build your own combos. We have seen that before in other games, but it's strangely been something that hasn't really been tackled, and this kind of feels like it's kind of the biggest, most ambitious, most involved just on that single mechanic.
Yeah.
And that seems like a really interesting idea that will make, the combat very interesting and fluid. It's health, it's, dealing with stamina, it's, pushing people into and off and obstacles, that kind of stuff, environmental fighting as well, weapon fighting, all those kinds of things that I think will make it a very interesting and kind of varied experience, even though I don't know how long it will be, like what kind of longevity it will have as a game, I guess is my only concern.
Yeah.
My question for you is, and you just brought up the longevity thing, what do you feel like if you were to compare it to, say, like a game like For Honor, which is not exactly the same martial arts combat, but a 1-on-1 or a 3v3 or 4v4?
Okay, let me start with this. It's combat is so much different between this and something like For Honor.
Obviously different fighting styles and things like that. But I'm talking more along the lines of the multiplayer combat scenarios. I'm not talking about the actual fighting mechanics and things like that. But do you feel like it might, with that longevity comment, do you feel like that might be a downfall, which potentially has been for For Honor, because it's, from all accounts, is not a very popular game these days.
Well, the devs are actually fighting back on that, saying that the actual game is actually doing really well. But yeah,
I hope it does, because it's a really fun game. I didn't buy it because I didn't see a lot of longevity play in it for me. But
no, I think the main problem with For Honor was, especially with the multiplayer aspect, is it was so horrendously broken at launch. It's even now it's still sort of plagued with connectivity issues, and the problem with the way that combat system works was any sort of latency really screws with the gameplay entirely. Because of how quick you need to be to do parries and blocks and that kind of thing in For Honor, that that sort of just killed the multiplayer at launch because none of it was working properly.
But okay, so what with For Honor, what was the thing keeping you unlocked cosmetics, or did you actually unlock moves with For Honor?
For Honor, it was just cosmetics.
You get cosmetics only, I think.
Yeah, so this is completely different. So the longer you play, the more in Absolver you actually learn different fighting moves and actually learn to get better. Actually collect different things.
You learn all the moves pretty much by level 10, maybe 15 on that particular class.
I mean, in regards to the longevity, like I definitely have been like I'm much more confident that it will last longer. Like the further I've kind of gone with seeing all the trailers and seeing the information and stuff, I think there might be issues, but at the same time, the customization is really involved. Like you can customize how you look and stuff. But like, for example, with like armor, like you can change how it looks and stuff, but it will also be kind of on a scale of if you have really strong armor, then it will be heavier. Whereas if you have light armor, it will be faster, and then you will be kind of going, okay, my character is very mobile and very much dodging out of the way of stuff. I have to make sure that I'm attuning the armor to that kind of purpose, and then you run into all the kind of like weapons and stuff and all the the fighting moves all over again kind of stuff.
So even with taking the word deck out of this, it really feels like Hearthstone, but for fighting games, where you've got to really hone your style and learn your style, and your style can beat anyone else's style as long as you know your style down pat.
And as long as you can recognize the style of the other people.
Yeah.
I think that's really what is going to give this game longevity, is the sort of in-depth to the combat involved. Like I did get a chance to try it out earlier this year, because it was sort of sneakily at RTX. You really had to go hunting for it, but it was there. And even just the match I got to do, which was I got to try out the 1v1 mode and a little bit of open world.
Yeah.
But even with the two characters that we had, which had like pretty much identical combat decks, because we didn't really get much of a chance to play around with it, because the goal was to test just the multiplayer itself. Even having two extremely similar fighting styles, it was not, I don't want to say hard, because that wasn't not really the right term, but it was still complex. Like, even though I knew the moves that were in my combat deck, and by sort of concession what was in his, still figuring out how to deal with those, and seeing the way they were used, in where I might have used a down left kick, he might have would prefer to use like a down left punch, and sort of just the way that not only can you customize the combat decks, but how you could use them as well, is really what's going to give this its longevity.
I was listening to a part where they were actually it's talking about one person could decide to do a sweeping low kick and the other person can try and do a powerful high kick, and they can both perfectly miss each other because they're both going the completely different spot. So it's not an automatic, I'm going to punch and get you and you're going to punch and get me. You really have to work out what's going on and use the right stuff. So now we've talked a bit about the game itself. We'll go into a bit other details, but a little bit about the fighting styles, and the stances is a bit part of it. So can you take us through that quick?
Yeah, so like I said, I did get a chance to go at it, but I didn't get tons of time with the deck. Essentially what we sort of got was what was pretty much the tutorial, was the sort of the open sort of fighting scenes, and then they threw us immediately into a 1v1 fight.
Yep.
As part of the tutorial, though, we do have to look at the combat deck and make a couple changes. Yep. And the way it's structured is, at first, kind of confusing. Like, at first glance, it's like there's branches everywhere for different things, and at first glance, it's messy.
A clusterfuck.
Yeah, pretty much. But sort of once you get another look at it, it starts to make more sense. Like, they'll have a small segment that'll be like stance, right? And that might branch off to a couple different button presses that'll throw you into a couple different stances, which will throw you into a new set of moves and sort of that kind of thing.
Yeah, so doesn't it have like a cancel thing where it just like automatically goes to a completely different move outside of the combat thing?
Yeah, so there are, as a thing that's in fighting games, but not necessarily sort of well known. Yeah, so I'll use Taken as my example here. If you can time a dash right, you'll cancel a move, right? And that is a sort of an inbuilt mechanic, like it's a shown off mechanic in Absolver, and they make a point of teaching you that you can cancel a lot of your moves if all of a sudden you make a split-second decision that's wrong.
Yeah, something
like if I start throwing the punch and he's far enough away and I can see he's throwing a left kick, if I can cancel my punch quick enough, I can throw into another stance.
Yeah, that
might be a low kick that's faster than his, for example, that'll sort of knock him to the ground and therefore extend the combat. But there's also, apart from the weapons, there are actually abilities.
Yep. Yes.
And they sort of charge as combat goes along. Yeah, so there's weapons, but there's abilities as well.
Yeah.
Which charge sort of as combat goes along. Like there was one that I got a chance to use that sort of was essentially a buff.
Yeah.
But it only buffed my fists, not my entire character as a whole. So my punches did a lot more damage, but my kicks were average. And I was sort of starting to spam punches and was getting countered.
The video I saw, it had glowy orbs on your belt, and as they glowed, you could use them during the fight.
Shards, I think they're called.
Yeah, shards.
Yeah.
I think he had the 3 shards were lit up, and that's when he pulled out the sword, and you could use the sword for a limited minute of time. But yeah, different buffs at different levels, so you decide whether you want to go all the way to the power weapon or you want to use them to buff yourself as you go along. So
yeah, and the combat is actually pretty fast paced.
Yeah.
Considering sort of what it is, especially when you're in a 1v1 scenario, it's a lot faster than you think. And each sort of attack feels like it's got weight behind it. You know how you play something like Street Fighter and, for example, punches are fast and they sort of just bounce off, and it doesn't feel like your punches necessarily have a ton of weight behind them.
Yeah.
Especially with the effects tees when you get hit and stuff like that. But an Absolver, everything like sounds and feels just super solid when you hit a punch. Like it doesn't sound like I'm sort of just punching a thin air or a thin wall or something. It sounds like I've hit something in the face.
Yeah.
And it's not happy about it.
It's like the Doom of fighting games. It's just so much meat.
Yeah, pretty much. Like that's what it feels like when you hit something.
I saw 2 pretty cool things in this video that I saw. One was he did a really high kick, missed the guy he was fighting and got his teammate, and his teammate had no health left and knocked him out. So he had to then revive him later. But the other thing, they were fighting over what looked like a big well with boards, and they all went on and started fighting, and just fell off down the hole. That was the end of them.
Perfect.
So this is all in the open world. And the other thing actually I saw was 2 people started to fight. They were in a group together and they started to 1v1 in the open world. About halfway through, they decided call it quits. So they actually used the emote buttons on the control to say, we've had enough, stop the fight. And the other guy has to then agree to that as well. So
yeah, that's the interesting thing. As Sammy sort of mentioned that it was sort of MMO style.
Yeah.
But there's no actual interaction per se. Like there's no chat menu or anything like that. It's kind of like the way Destiny did it, but there's no voice chat either.
No, so it's literally
the game that I got. There was no.
I did notice there was like a little. I mean, I don't know whether or not it will become like an actual chat thing, but I remember seeing a thing that was kind of like X is hostile or X is blah, 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 blah. So I do wonder if they're gonna do that.
It was, I think, if you punch someone, it then makes you hostile to them, and it came up down the bottom saying this person is. But if you just walk up to someone in the open world and you look at them, there's nothing that means you have to fight them at all. It's up to a choice that you.
Yeah, and you can't like say anything either. You can't,
you can. There are emotes.
That's it. You can do the come here emote and just lead them off a cliff.
Yeah, but that side of it looks pretty cool. Like they've had closed beta going for a while, and one of the things that they were talking about was the fact that players were going in and they expected them just to be fighting each other, but they weren't. They were showing respect. So because you don't know that person who you see on the screen, you don't know what level, like what fighting ability they have, what deck they're really using. So you could pick a fight with a guy who just absolutely is going to tower you. So you really have to show respect in that world and fight when you really think you need to beat them or you know them and want to learn from them.
Yeah, definitely. It's especially with like we did the 1v1 fight and we actually, at least my sort of fight, because they couldn't find someone, so they just like threw a random guy off the convention floor. Was like, here, play the game. But it's if you judge sort of something incorrectly, like for example, if you sort of in that sense of open world, if you walk up to someone like, hey, that looks like a noob, it doesn't mean like shit for fighting ability. My first game lasted 30 seconds. And then we had to keep doing more because they were too quick.
Yeah.
So you've really sort of got to pick your fights carefully.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Because even at a, you could be very high level and still get completely throttled by someone that's at a low level.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, you don't know what that person's ability is at all in the world. There's no indicator on the screen. So, Benny, now you're the person who doesn't really know much Absolver. What other questions have you got for these boys?
Okay, well, I'm just looking at some of the notes you guys got in the run sheet, and I'm listening to what you guys are saying.
Yep.
Sounds pretty interesting and everything like that. So, you specifically said something about playing with a controller. Is there going to be keyboard and mouse support for the PC? Or are you guys not aware of any?
No, there was a controller, and see, every game that we were running was running off a laptop.
Okay.
My version had controllers, but the set next to me was just running off a mouse and keyboard.
Okay.
So given that it's on PC, it will have both controls.
But yeah, you also mentioned there wasn't going to be any text chat or anything in there either. So
there was
interesting,
no text
especially
chat.
being a PC-based game.
Yeah. I do wonder if it's more suited towards controller though.
Definitely. It was at least the way sort of you do movement.
I'd say so. For that type of fighting game, you kind of want those sort of controls.
Yeah, it's like Tekken in the way that it's 3D movement.
Yeah,
and
it's
that
not
just
that
doesn't
you
work
can't
well.
use a keyboard and mouse. I mean, For Honor was exactly the same. A lot better controls with a controller than it was with a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
The other question I had was no PS4 release. Is there rumors of a PS4 release or a Switch release?
Yeah, no, it's coming to PS4.
Yeah, it's definitely coming.
There in the run sheet.
Yeah, it's above. It says PS4 and PC. It's not coming to Xbox though, and there's nothing on that at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna use PC anyway.
Yeah,
On PC.
I think
it will definitely come to consoles, or at the very least, it's coming to a console, and I think it'll work very well on a console.
Yeah.
I think it'd actually work pretty well on Switch, to be honest. Like that graphics looked very Zelda-esque in the open world. That's what I first thought I was sort of looking at, that actual world area. But just comes down to latency with fighting games. So
at the very least, no chat meshes well with Nintendo's horrible fucking online system. So that's something.
Then it'll work perfectly because there is no online chat.
That's
exactly.
Exactly right. Oh my god. Any other questions, or would you want us to go around? Okay. So Sammy,
I'm good.
We'll start with you, Sammy. Positive, negative, and your overall thoughts.
I personally, for positive, I feel like it's just a really cool idea that has been completely fleshed out into a whole game. Negative, worried a little bit about the longevity. And overall, I mean, I'm totally getting this game. It's just going to be a fantastic game, I think, really. Not really much more to it.
Okay, so Whip, a little bit different, positive, negative, and who do you think this is aimed at?
My positive is the game looks, amazingly fun, right? And it plays well. And it's in-depth, and I can't wait to grab it. Negative, though, is for me, it's the chat, or the lack thereof.
Yep.
If you're on something like PlayStation, for example, it's easy enough. You can just hit home, go to your recent players, find someone, message them that way. But if you're on PC, that's a lot harder. And that
like
is
the
one
whole
of my concerns.
journey, no one gets to talk kind of thing.
Yeah, and that is my concerns with something that's got team fights and that sort of guild training school mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Is that no combat could be sort of detrimental to that, or sort of counterintuitive anyway to those features.
Is it going to be a Steam game? Because I suppose you could always use the Steam chat.
Yeah, if it's on Steam,
it
you could use the Steam UI. It's fucking terrible.
I mean, you can use
thing is.
Discord.
Yeah, I know,
whatever.
but I'm just trying to think of another way you can communicate with another way to
There'll be plenty of ways to actually.
start that connection, so you could then go, hey, I've got a Discord channel. Come jump on my Discord and we'll chat in there or something like that.
Basically,
just
you'll be
trying
able
to
to.
think of what else there could be.
You'll search forums and everything, and you'll have many Discords you'll be able to go join if you want to play with people.
Yeah, there'll be like ways around that,
Yeah.
but still not having it inbuilt is a little
a bit weird.
counterintuitive
Yeah.
to some of the things they're going for.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that we should have a Friday Fight Night.
You gotta buy the game though.
Totally. I will buy the game and it'll be fine. I'll play
And
it.
so
Hello, am I?
who's the audience of this game? Who is this aimed at, Whip?
I think it's kind of hard to say. I would love to say it's aimed at hardcore fighting players, but I don't think there's actually enough multiplayer content in there to keep them happy. Something like Street Fighter or Tekken, they can just take competitive or casual and have at it. but with this, there's a lot more sort of work involved.
Yeah.
And I think that could be the issue for them. So I would sort of say it's aimed at a bit of a middle ground.
Okay.
Like, yeah, a casual could pick it up and play it, but it's in depth enough that a hardcore player will still get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
That
that's
aspirational kung fu muggers.
yeah, pretty much. They'll have a good fun time, you know, see what they can learn and pick up. But I think that's what it's sort of going to be. It's going to be a middle ground for both.
Okay. So Benny, where do you sit on this at the moment after hearing these two boys lovingly talk about this game?
I think this is going to be one of those games where I'm hoping there's a beta. That maybe I can jump in and give it a try. Oh, there was. Okay, well, I missed it.
Not an open one, but there was a closed one, yes. I assume they...
Maybe there will be an open one. I mean, hey, you never know.
I tried.
A bit over a month to go. But, I mean, it's coming out end of August. It's got a good release window.
Mm-hmm.
About a week before Destiny 2 there. And also, there's not... Now Shadow of Mordor's moved to October. There's not much else around there, so...
Just Mario and Rabbids.
Might be... But yeah, you know, it's... I don't know, it'll be interesting. It might get a bit of talk when it actually comes out, and we'll see what happens. But for me, it's probably a miss, because I just don't think that's the sort of game that I'm going to be able to spend a lot of time in to enjoy properly.
Yep.
And I'm not a big fighting game person anyway. I prefer my shooters.
He's a lover, not a fighter. That's...
I do.
Well, I mean, he's a fighter. It's just a fighter with guns rather with hands. The coward's way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell that to an American.
I guess I better give my 2 cents in. I do like the idea of the open world side of it. Looks pretty interesting. Fighting NPCs and real world players, and sort of deciding who you want to take on and who you don't want to take on. A lot of potential there. The negatives, I don't know how big the audience is going to be for this in 6 months' time. It'll be a buy, have to play it now. Otherwise, I don't know what it's going to be like in a couple months' time. But being Devolver Digital, they'll probably do sales on it, and it'll probably pick up over Christmas. It'll be the big thing for the winter sale on Steam, and everyone will start playing it again because it might get good reviews. So it's a pass for me at the moment, because I'll be playing Mario and Rabbids for sure at that time, and a few other games. So it does sound good though. So that's it for Absolver. We did half the episode on that, which is pretty good. I'm happy with that. So let's move into Cuphead. Now,
Cuphead.
There we go. Everyone raises their cups for Cuphead. So,
No, you're supposed to say, "Put down the mug, man."
Put down the mug, man. Mugman's the second one of the two in the co-op, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cuphead
He's
and
the one who
Mugman.
doesn't get to be in the title.
Oh, that's harsh. So
Tell that to Luigi.
So
Well, he did get his own game though.
I mean, he got a whole year, so I
eventually.
mean, he's climbing the ladder a little.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Anyway, let's move on to this. So Cuphead is an true independent game, made by Studio MDHR, self-published, but I'd say there's a lot of money from Microsoft in there somewhere or other, because this is coming to only the Microsoft platforms, PC and Xbox. They debuted in 2014 at E3 on the Microsoft press conference, and has been seen at every single press conference since. So, except for the last one. Oh no, it wasn't the last one, because they gave the date finally. So, here we go. Cuphead is a run-and-gun platformer indie video game by Canadian brothers Chad and Jared. That's a word. Moldenhar. Operating as Studio MTHR Entertainment. It draws on the style of the 1930s cartoons. As Cuphead, the player fights a series of bosses to repay the debt to the devil, because they lost the bet with the devil, so now they've got to replay it.
Moldenhauer.
So, yeah, this game, obviously we've known about this for 3 years now. I think it's been at every PAX that I've been to. The most overshown game in the history of games. Development actually started back in 2010 for this game.
Yeah.
So, of the crew we've got here tonight, the expert is probably more Benny than anyone else.
I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I'm super excited for it.
Okay, so Benny, so look. It's mainly obviously boss fights and platform levels. It's Look, what this game's about. Let's talk about it. It's the art style.
Let's go back into the history a little bit more. I mean, we started there. You said 2010, but basically, you're right. Two brothers started it. They've pulled in like extra resources to create more of the worlds and more art and everything like that. I think one of the brothers' wife is even one of the head artists.
Yep.
But the game started out as just a boss rush game. It's literally just 100% boss fights, nothing else. That's what they showed at E3 2014.
I think that's pretty much what they showed right up until about 12 months ago, and then they went sort of quiet.
Well, yeah, they went quiet probably around 12 months ago, you're right. And maybe even a little bit before that, to be honest. But when they first showed it, that was literally the boss rush. And the thing is, the response levels that they got and the enthusiasm from punters and people at that trade show and Gamescom and PAXs and things that followed after that, and Microsoft as well, going, hey, you guys are onto something here. You know, you could do more. Whether or not you want to do more is up to you, but we will gladly fund you and help you through the next few years of development with their ID program, their independent development program.
Yep.
And they've come to the table and they've gone, all right, well, let's go back and revisit it. And they've come back with this platforming, hub world type, RPG light, let's say RPG light sort of world game.
Yep.
And yeah, it's what they've brought forward since then and showing off the platforming and what they've accomplished in that time speaks volumes, because it still looks fantastic. It still looks like a lot of fun. You still got the run and gun aspect. You've still got the awesome boss fight levels and things like that. So they're like individual boss fight levels. I think there might be some that'll be thrown into just normal levels. You'll have a boss pop up in a normal level or so forth. But the game just speaks to that kid in me. I'm remembering those Mario Brothers games from the late 80s, early 90s, all those old NES games and things like that. And then the animation, because I mean, I was a young whippersnapper in the 80s, and watching old school Disney cartoons and things like that. Like Dumbo is one of my favorite cartoons. I love Dumbo and the Jungle Book.
Yep.
And you always got those Steamboat Mickey videos, like. And Wilco, you probably remember this as well, man. Like
I was actually there writing them and all that kind of stuff. I was in my late 50s when that happened.
You'd go to the cinemas back then, and they'd put the little cartoon at the start of, like, say, going to see, I don't know, one of those movies at the cinemas.
The black and white silent films, they
put those little like Steamboat Mickey in at the front, and that just speaks to me on a massive childhood nostalgia factor, and there's something new and interesting design. It looks wicked. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it is that art style I think that's caught everyone's attention.
Oh yeah,
like it's all hand drawn. It's just amazing looking. The gameplay itself, did you get to play it at any of the PAXs that you've been to or any of the events you've been to so far?
No, I haven't played it, but I'm treating that as a good thing, because when I actually do get to play it, I'm going to
feel fresh.
Just jump straight in, be fresh. So I'm paying attention to it enough to know what the game is and to be excited about it. But I don't want to watch too much, because I don't want to spoil a lot of it for me. Like I watched and I shared it with our little super hype train group, the Conan.
That was
playing
terrible.
It with Kate Upton. It was cringeworthy on another level. But
I don't think did they actually show Cuphead in all that? They just showed him and Kate Upton.
There was maybe about 3 minutes worth of game footage and 12 minutes of him hitting on Kate Upton.
God.
But like even watching that gameplay footage, I was like, I don't want to watch too much, because I just want to go in and enjoy this game. But like there's talk of time trial levels and time trial boss fights and things like that.
Yep.
So there's lots of really cool options that they can do with this game. And it's gonna be a nice game that when you're looking for something to break up the monotony, you can jump in and do it, play a couple of levels, and go back to your shooters, your Destiny, your Shadow of War, whatever else is coming out.
And hey, couch co-op is making a return.
couch co-op's getting really big this year, isn't it?
Yeah, how
About
good's
time.
that? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
So glad.
I just
Bring
need
back
some
the couch
friends.
co-op games now that we have TVs that are large enough to accommodate couch co-op games.
that's it. So we've touched on a little bit. What's some of the main features that you're excited for, though, Benny? So the boss fights or the overworld?
Well, the boss fights probably speaks to me the most. I think
because it's supposed to be an infinite amount.
Challenge.
It's supposed to be an infinite amount.
I think. Oh, I don't know about infinite, man, but
I think I read somewhere.
there's like variable.
Yeah.
On the boss fights, so that it could load up a different variable. But the yeah, I just think the boss fights themselves are probably one of the more interesting things, and then being able to do the couch co-op thing to do the boss fights with Mugman. I think that's going to be one of the cool things to do as well. Is like get a mate around. Let's jump on stream and play some Cuphead.
Yeah, definitely.
There's not many of those games anymore where you can go, hey, let's do some couch co-op anymore. We talked about in our E3 episode that EA game, was it A Way Out or something like that? It was called. Yeah. Like that is a strictly co-op only game. It's like shit. People don't do co-op anymore. This is like not like that, And I think this is going to be fantastic for that. Whether or not, I don't even think there is online co-op. I think it's just couch co-op only.
I haven't actually looked into that at all. But what's the other one? Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. That was a couch co-op only game as well, which was fun when you actually had people around to play it. When you're playing it by yourself, it got a little bit hard. Yeah, but this one still even looks pretty fun on your own. So
yeah, single player platformer, man. I mean, I love those sort of old school type of platformers. Whether they're hard or easy or whatever, I'm gonna have fun with this. Inside was my game of the year last year. It's simple puzzle platformer.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to another good platformer this year.
Okay, so Whip, where do you sit on Cuphead?
Honestly, I can't wait for this game.
Yep.
I'm a bit like Benny, though. I've purposely sort of tried to stay away from a lot of info about this game just because I don't want it. I want to play it, and I want to be pretty surprised by what I find. But I am in love with this art style. I love it so much.
There's just nothing like it, is there?
The game. No. It's what drew me to the game when I turned it off was the art style, because of how much I love it, how much it reminded me of, old Disney cartoons.
Yeah, definitely.
The old style they did with the whole hand drawn stuff and the old Steamboat Willie stuff. Because yes, I'm young, but I've still seen it.
You're not young. You're turning old this weekend. Happy birthday, Whip.
You're becoming a real adult now.
Are you having a frozen cake as well?
If I do, I'll burn it.
I'll have to buy one and bring it around here.
Can we hire him an Elsa stripper?
God.
Oh.
And sing like strip to Let It Go or something like that.
Oh my there God. We go. We've really brought it down tonight. This is great.
The sad thing is that may or may not be like an actual thing that exists.
No, it will be. It is an actual thing. I'm sure of it.
I hope it is, because that'd be fucking hilarious.
God.
I think Josh is ringing up his local now, just organising it. So.
Well,
she wanted to work at Disneyland, but something just went terribly wrong.
Wrong audition room.
Okay. So we mentioned the overworld that they've put in, the hub world sort of 2D, what'd you say, Mario world type, or Mario...
It rings true to the classic Super Mario Bros. 3. I think that's pretty much the first place I remember the hub world.
Now you can
in a game.
You can run around. You obviously choose your bosses from there, but you also shop and buy level ups and different buffs and things like that as well.
That's it. Yeah. So and I think that's pretty reminiscent of what Super Mario Brothers was. Even Super Mario Brothers 3 back then, you'd get to the bonus stage or the shop stage, and you could pick up something, and then you use that in the next level. I think the difference here, though, is you buy those abilities. I think they're a lot more persistent. I wouldn't quote me on that. So, they'll persist through death. And, excuse me, not only is persisting through death, but they'll persist to the following level stages later on in the game. And you can actually choose different supers and abilities like that as well to unlock to use during the platforming or the boss fights.
Yeah, so they remind me a lot of the bullet hell or twin stick shooter style type of gameplay.
Yeah, that's what a lot of gameplay I think they've actually sort of shown from Cuphead has looked a lot like a side-scrolling bullet hell.
Yeah,
with all that a lot of jumping around trying to avoid obviously the different boss attacks and stuff like that. So the one thing I liked, which was when one of the two died, Mugman or Cuphead died, you had a chance to revive them before they disappeared off the screen as well. So basically they have a ghost, and if you jump on that ghost before they go off the screen, they come back to life, which is a pretty cool little mechanic as well that I think will be fun to muck around with.
Yeah,
it's just so cool stylistically.
Into its body.
Yeah,
so
I
cool
think
stylistically though.
Yeah, I think it rings true to like a Rayman Legends platforming sort of scenario where they had that a bit in the Rayman games.
Yep.
Where like if your teammates died, you can jump on their little bubble thing and bring them back, help them out. So,
I think it's really reminiscent of a lot of games actually. Like the gameplay really reminds you of Metal Slug.
Yeah, Metal Slug. There's lots of little different nods to a lot of different franchises, which is really cool.
And then that unique art style to go with it, so it's going to stand out. So, Sammy, I know you're not really much up on Cuphead. What do you think from what the guys have said tonight? Where are you at now?
I mean, I am a bit up on Cuphead. I kind of just said that because I didn't think I'd have that much to say about Cuphead. Just from it seems a bit like Mario. I don't know what I can say that will, be reasonable as a preview kind of thing. It looks really cool. It obviously has that very distinctive art style. I've been, wanting to play it for ages with like one particular friend, even though then we found out it was on PC, so we'll see if that ends up happening, but hopefully. But yeah, I mean, it just looks fantastic. Like, there's no real denying it. The gameplay, looks pretty solid. It looks, I don't know, good from a music audio standpoint. See, this is where I was talking about it going. Yeah, it just looks good. See, this is what I was talking about when I said I didn't have that much to say on it.
That's okay. So, Benny, at the end of 2017, when we do a show wrapping up what has happened in 2017, do you think we'll be talking about Cuphead at that stage? Or, because this has been one of the most anticipated games for, I don't know, 3 years now.
I think it'll get a mention regardless. I mean, you look at something like a No Man's Sky, which had that much hype behind it last year.
I was about to say.
And we talked about that at the end of last year for a very different reason, besides it being good. So whether or not Cuphead actually becomes a success or a failure, I think it's going to get mentioned at some point at the end of the year, because we've waited so long for it. We have to talk about it. And we have to talk about delaying games for that long, or announcing games that early in development, or whatever the process is. We're going to have to talk about something as a result of this game coming out, and there will be a discussion had by many podcasts throughout AGPN land.
Okay. Excellent. So let's start with you, Whip. Positive, negative, and overall hypeness.
Overall, I'm buying the shit out of this game. One way or the other. I'm going to love it. I'm probably going to grab a few friends over and stream it. Thank you, local co-op. As for the negatives, I could see it being too long. Like a game like this, that was probably poor words, but a game like this, if the storyline takes me like 40 hours to complete, I'm probably going to get really fucking sick of that gameplay by then. Yeah. I would much rather a short game, but with like increasingly difficult game modes.
I don't think it'd be that sort of length of gameplay. I think initially you'll find it's probably like maybe 4 hours, maybe.
Can't tell.
Yeah,
it's been
maybe 8
development
hours
for so long.
But then you have
that's really what I want.
Yeah, you'd have the replayability factor.
Yeah, that's really what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for like a short, heavy replayable game with tons of game modes, or like increasing ways to make it harder on me.
Yeah.
And not something that's just going to take me forever to complete.
I'd be thinking more along the lines of maybe something like a Castle Crashers, where that wasn't a super long game, but had a hell of a lot of replayability in it.
All they have to do is put leaderboards in there, and all of a sudden, although it's going to be hard if the boss fights are sort of not random, but it's
they'll have boss fight time trial and all that sort of stuff.
But leaderboards, the game's being replayed a lot. But yeah, so positive though, Whip.
positive is for me. It's always and forever will be this art style because of how much I adore it so much. And even if this game sucked, I would buy it just so I could look at that art.
Okay, excellent. Now, Sammy, what are your positive, negatives, and hypeness?
Well, I mean, positive is, it looks pretty bloody good. It looks like the gameplay is, solid. I mean, negatives, I don't know, I guess it could be too long. Like, it feels like quite a lot of the negatives at this point are speculative. So, it could go badly. There's enough room for those errors to kind of stack up. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm probably going to get it. Yeah, maybe not at launch, but yeah, I'm definitely going to pick it up this year. Nothing else to talk about at end of year stuff.
Excellent. Now, Benny, we know your hypeness level's pretty high for this one. So, positive, negative, and are you worried about the time that this game will be coming out?
To be honest, the negative probably would be the launch window. I mean, it's end of September there, right before that October rush. That holiday sort of sale window begins. So I'm thinking that's probably its biggest negative is its release window and its date. It's after Destiny 2. I don't think there's anything else really in that September frame that I can think of off the top of my head that would pull away from it. But it's literally at the end of September, right before the October madness begins. And
well, I think the real madness starts with Shadow of War, sort of the first one in October. It's going to be
starts with drop mix.
Oh, well, I'm not interested. I'm talking, but I'm talking like the big ones that are going to start really detracting away from those all indie games that are coming out around that time. Positives, man, art style, soundtrack, nostalgia factor, platforming, run and gun. Mate, it's 80s childhood nostalgia plus old school cartoons, which I love cartoons. There's so much for me to love about this thing.
When are we getting an 8-bit / Cuphead shirt?
I'll talk to Brendan.
Okay.
I'll start the design process now. We'll have the purple dinosaur boss fight ready for you by the time it comes out.
I can't wait. Yes, I want to see that. As for me,
maybe with like a flamingo, but it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Okay, do that. As for me, positive is obviously it just looks pretty. I don't think we need to say too much more about that. The negative for me is for me, it'll get repetitive fairly quick with those boss fights. That's what I'm worried about anyway. We'll see when we get to play it. As for whether I'm playing it or not, I'm probably going to be skipping it unless I hear some really good stuff about it or I have to talk about it at the end of the year, just because Destiny 2 is a couple of weeks before that. I'll still be playing that, to be honest, but we'll talk about that next week.
You've already beaten a raid and be like fully kitted out. I know you.
You haven't seen me play. I'll be still trying to jump in the jumping puzzle in the first strike, let alone anything else. But that's next week's episode. So, look, I think it's a pretty hyped game. Cuphead, it has been hyped for a fairly long time. I'm pretty glad that they decided to
In terms of the year's worth of hype, if you go back and listen to and promoting a very large podcast here, IGN's Unlocked podcast, because they've talked about it a lot every time it's shown up at a trade show. And going, when are we getting this game? When are we getting this game? They've talked about it a lot, and they're saying they're super excited for it and things like that. And they've played it, and they say it feels great and things like that. So if you're really looking to get some probably more professional opinions, let's put it that way, they're all saying the same thing.
What are you talking about?
More informed opinions.
Informed opinion is probably a good analogy too.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the. I've just had someone link me. Thanks, Okies, for the release schedule for this year. In September, it's pretty quiet. Like Total War, Warhammer 2 is the same day or the day before Cuphead. Danganronpa V3.
That's sort of niche market though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very niche market.
Danganronpa is a niche market.
And then there's Forza.
Drop Mix is a niche market as well.
Douche market, did you say?
Douche. Is it the straight shush? But
look,
yeah, there's nothing like Destiny's a big mass market sort of appeal. Cuphead has that sort of mass market appeal to it as well.
How many people are going to be streaming it anyway? It's just going to get exposure anyway. So
it'll get huge exposure. It'll be all over YouTube and Twitch.
And it depends on that price. I haven't seen a price point for it yet. It shouldn't be.
I'd say it's that ID at Xbox price. So Xbox One, they're usually around that $25 mark.
Yeah, so it's pre-orderable on Steam as well.
Is it? I haven't looked at.
Oh, yeah, does it have a price?
Considering it is a Microsoft,
that is weird.
Almost exclusive in a way. It is actually on Steam. That was pointed out not long after the E3 conference.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is interesting. It doesn't have a price for anyone out there. No.
Not too sure.
Let's have a look.
Okay, someone's going to do that while I vamp and say.
I have. Yeah, and it's not.
It's not there yet. Cool. Look, I'm not going to pay any more than $40 for it. I'm hoping for about the $30 to $20 mark, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So, look, you've heard us ramble on long enough. So this is an example of some of the special presentation episodes we're probably going to be doing down the track for any smaller games that we don't have the full hour to cover. So I hope you've enjoyed Absolver
just on the Cuphead price on the Windows Store, it is $30, $29.95.
Okay, that's fair.
Alright.
And I assume if you buy it on that Microsoft Store, you get it on Xbox as well with Play Anywhere.
I assume so, because that's where the Xbox PC app took me to when I clicked on it.
Play Anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's pretty handy for people out there that are going to buy it. Probably get it that way if you can. If it does come on a Steam sale down the track, though.
Oh, Dark Oaky says placeholder.
Oh, placeholder. Okay.
So
okay.
Maybe it's a placeholder price. Great assault, people.
Okay, so look, that's it for Absolver and Cuphead episode. Let's wrap around. Let's start with the gloved man himself, Sammy. Where can people find you? Shout outs and plugs.
Yeah, so you can go to my Twitter, which is SammyDeej, which is under the thing, hopefully.
It's above you.
I don't know if we put it in the link. It's there.
That's it.
SammyDeedge. Or my YouTube, which is XDeej, where you can watch the Vivid Geekcast.
And if people want you to
games I dislike,
watch you play Hitman really badly, where can they go?
I mean, yeah, my Twitch is also SammyDeej. I haven't been doing it that much because like no one's talking to me. Because I do it like I'm like, hey, I'm gonna start streaming in like 5 minutes. Yeah. So I'm more of a YouTube person.
Okay, cool. Anything you're excited about in the next week? No games coming out?
Well, I mean, Lady Layton's coming out, and in 2 weeks, my trivia quiz thing is coming out. So yes.
Okay, cool. So Whip, besides being excited about seeing me this weekend and your birthday, what else is happening? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at WhipFlash181, which is also below my face right now.
It is.
Have a look there. It's like right there.
But it's an audio podcast, so you probably should just say it. You know.
Yeah. If you're on Twitch, like the Fabulous Human, you should be. Then it is below my face. If you're not, then at WhipFlash181 on Twitch and Twitter. As for what I'm looking forward to, I mean, Wilco sort of encompasses everything I'm looking forward to. Because he's coming here. My birthday's that weekend, so it's the Overwatch Cup. That's like everything.
I can't believe I'm flying down there just for your birthday. I'm committed.
I know.
Are you going to the Overwatch Cup at all this weekend, Whip?
Yeah, I should be.
Yeah.
As long as there's tickets left, because I had to delay buying them.
So you go see some of the Australia group stage. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I wanted to go. Nice.
Should be fun.
Okay, so Benny, plugs, shout-outs. What do you got?
All right, let's get into this stuff. At the Spawny13 on Twitter, you can find me there. You can also find me doing the Twitters for We Are 8-Bit, ATEBIT. Also, you find me on Twitch at We Are 8-Bit, all the Instagrams, all the YouTubes, all those same funny places. You can find us everywhere at We Are 8-Bit. You can buy if you are watching this stream and you are looking at this very fine Doom-themed 8-Bit t-shirt with a purple dinosaur, it's the Doom Marine. You can buy one of these shirts plus many other rad designs at designbyhumans.com/shop/we-are8bit. It's been pointed out to me recently, they are a little bit of a delay in shipping. They take about 3 to 4 weeks to get to you. but the quality of these shirts and hoodies and everything else that you can get from there, top notch. I'm going to put it out there because I love this shirt. It's one of my comfiest t-shirts I've got. Let's see, what else was there? I think there's some Avcon stuff coming up this weekend on our YouTube. We've got some stuff from the Z-Town thing the guys did last weekend. I think, Sammy, you've got some more content coming out for us as well. I think there's another review.
Yeah, I've got 2 reviews that I sent to Brendan, so hopefully they'll be on soon.
They'll probably be up this week, and
you can hear all the very specific reasons that I don't like Perception.
Yeah, that's it. So there's lots of other cool things, and if you're not watching the stream and you're listening to us on the podcast, you're missing out for the 3rd time an animal live on stream, because this is my 3rd pet that I brought on stream. So you should be watching.
You should be watching. Speaking of that, we do go live. We do go live every Monday night, 9 o'clock. So please lock it in on Wilco's Chill Zone, which is my Twitch. Follow me. I'm only 5 away from 100. I want to get there ASAP because I'm sick of being in the 90s. I'm like a terrible cricketer. I never got to the 90s as a cricketer, so we would know. No, shut up. You can get me. One of my 7 Twitter accounts is Wilco's Chill Zone as well. You can get me there. And I'm going to, if I get time, be putting some more videos up on Wilco's Chill Zone YouTube as well. And I'm going to resurrect my Freege, FREEGE YouTube account fairly soon as well, because it's just going great guns and I haven't put a video up there in 12 months.
So we've got the Sea of Deej and Mr. Freege.
That's it. It's ridiculous. Like, it's got almost 3,000 views in the last month, and I haven't put a video up in there in 12 months. So, anyway.
Popular.
Yeah, ultrasupermega.com.au is where I call home and where a few other people call home. We're doing hashtag bring back Perko at the moment because we don't know where he is. He may be dead. We don't know. Hopefully we find him tomorrow night for the Megacast, but episode 50. But look, if you follow us all on all those Ultra Super Megas on Facebook and Twitter, you can find it all through our social tab on our Facebook page and join us on Discord because it is a very active Discord and you are missing out if you're not on there, so please go join us there. The last one I always forget to plug is Australasian Gaming Podcast Network, AGPN. Join them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter. That's where we all call home. All of us here, we have our podcasts go through there as well, so please check them out. But next week's episode is Destiny 2, so lock it in at 9 p.m. next Monday night to watch us talk about Destiny 2 beta and impressions of the game for a full hour. The following week will be a racing spectacular where we talk about the 3 big racing games coming out this year. So that's what we've got coming up. That is all for tonight. Thank you for watching, and everyone stay hyped.
Stay hungry.
I'm trying to create like visual content